Welcome to Exploring Careers with Career Solutions. In these informational videos, we will look at how to use some of the main features of the Career Solutions system. This video accompanies Lesson 3 in the Facilitator's Guide and provides an overview of how to locate the Work Values Assessment and how to use the features within this tool. This is the Career Solutions site. As always, be sure that you are signed in to ensure that all of your information is actually saved from the activities that are completed within the career exploration exercises. To locate the Work Values Assessment, just go into the Career Exploration area of the system. From here, just go to the list of tools and click on the third link for the Work Values Assessment. This is the page that will appear when you enter into the Work Values Assessment. Initially, what you're going to see are some detailed instructions that need to be reviewed carefully before the assessment is actually started. Below these instructions, there are a series of cards that will be displayed, and each of these cards have a statement on it. Students need to be encouraged to read each of the statements and think about how important the statement is to them. Once they've gone through and read each of the 20 cards, a link will be displayed below the card that will allow them to begin the assessment. To go through each of the cards, they just need to click on these arrows here. And again, for each of the statements, they need to think about how important that statement might be to them. By the time you get to card 20, a link is going to appear that will allow you to begin the values assessment. The assessment is a basic card sorting task. So students will need to look at each of the cards and again think about how important the statement might be to them. Below the cards are 5 different columns ranging from most important, very important, moderate important, important, or least important. And so each of the cards will need to be taken and placed in one of these 5 columns. To place a card in a column, you can either use the rating scale that's right below the card, so you can click here, or as an alternative, you can take the card and drag it to one of the columns. What you'll notice here is that only 4 cards can be placed in each of the columns, which means by the time you get through maybe the 5th, 6th, or even into the higher number of cards there, some important decisions are going to need to be made about where to place the cards. You cannot place more than 4 in each of the columns. To get a little bit more information about this assessment and maybe some of the instructions that go behind it, you can always visit ONET. And again, a lot of the assessments and tools that are available within the Career Solutions site are available within ONET. If you would like to get to the instructions or information for this particular assessment, just go to the How to Use This Tool for Lesson 3 and you'll see a link on how to get to those instructions that are available on ONET. Once the assessment has been completed, the results will appear on a page that looks something like this. This is very similar to what was displayed after the completion of the work interests assessment, but these instead are the work values. And so students can go in and see where their values are, and they should be encouraged to look at their top 2 to 3 values that are displayed. To learn more about each of the work values, students can click on the links within the table, and a brief description will appear about that particular work value that can help them understand what that means, how it might be linked to particular occupations they may be interested in exploring. Once students have had an opportunity to review the information for the work values and learn a little bit more about their top 2 or 3 values, the next thing they'll need to do is click Next, which will take them to a screen that displays occupations that are correlated with their work values. Before the occupations are displayed, students are going to be asked to select the level of match that they would like for their work values. It's important to note here that the list, the occupations that appear at the top of the list will not change regardless of the level of match that you select. It just basically controls the length of the list. So if you choose a loose match, the list will be longer. If you choose a very close match, the list will be shorter. Basically, it may be suggested that students simply select a moderate match. The table that appears are the occupations that have a strong correlation with their particular work values. Now, this is very, very similar to the list that's displayed after students complete the work interests assessment, but the occupations are going to look a little different because these, instead of being matched to their interests, are matched to their work values. Some of the same features are available here in this particular table. You'll notice that next to each of the occupations, various symbols will be displayed. And again, these symbols indicate the degree to which an occupation might be a bright outlook occupation or a green occupation. If students want to go in and filter the list, they can simply look at some of the filter criteria. And here, just as with the work interests, they can filter by occupation group, education level, and also through wage requirements. To explore any of the occupations in depth, you just want to simply click on one of these occupations, and the occupation profile page will appear. So here again on these pages, it's helpful to direct students to the most useful information for them. On this particular page, that occupation summary is going to be the most useful tool. It provides a really quick summary of the labor market demand as well as the education requirements. And again, there's those links that are going to appear at the top of the screen, helping them focus on the education and work experience link, the skills link, and maybe even the employment and wages link can be useful for students so they can get in and look at the skills required and the education needed to attain entry into that occupation, as well as the demand for that occupation and the wages that they may expect once they are employed within that occupation. It's also important to remind students that when they come across occupations that seem like a good fit, they want to save these to the occupation library. And the way to do that here is right here in the center of the screen. Simply by clicking that button, you can save the occupation. If it is not visible, all you need to do is scroll over it, click on it, it will turn green. You can save or unsave that occupation. So this was a quick overview of the system and the tools you want to access for Lesson 3. At this point, you can return to the Facilitator's Guide for additional instructions on how to introduce this stage of the career exploration process to students.